Hey everyone, how's it going? So, I think I figured out a way to be able to talk while having articles up and having it not lag, so here goes nothing. So, if I pause, that's because I realize I have to move the screen first before I talk, because it just must take up too much of the processing power in this phone. But anyways, I think that's why it keeps doing that in my other videos where I go through articles and I try reading things. I just One thing that just really gets me is the fact that we live in the age of the internet, right? And where information, false, true, in between, is disseminated from one coast to the other, right? The whole world can usually receive this information. Obviously, there's a few countries that don't have access to the internet or are limited to access to the internet or censored. I'm not talking about those countries. I'm talking about the people that live in the United States or even England or other places where there's censorship, obviously, but it's limited as of right now as far as the internet goes. And you people have no excuses. I'm not talking about the people in this channel, obviously, but the people who are just blissfully ignorant. You have no excuses. You have no excuse to not take 5 minutes out of your pathetic lives. Because I know you all have free time. Even the world's busiest person in the entire world has 5-10 minutes to sit down and go online and maybe fact check some things that they were taught in the news. But no, we don't want to do that. We want to take the MSM as gospel, as self-evident truth. And it's really pathetic. And it shows the character of these people. But anyways, one thing they always comment on is, well, if the Jews rule the world, which I don't even think the Jews in general rule the world. I know Jewish supremacists rule the world, and they brainwashed all the other Jews to either blindly follow them or to proudly follow their supremacist ideology. But anyways, what does that have to do with North Korea, right? The media is always attacking North Korea. You can't explain that one, huh? Gotcha. I mean, really. Just the ignorance from people. It amazes me. So, even though I knew most of these things, you can just take an extra 5 minutes out of your day to Google North Korea-Palestine relations. And you'll see that ever since the 60s, North Korea has not been friends of Israel. It could have even been before that. I don't really know the history too well between the two, but I do know from the past conflicts of the Gaza Strip, which I didn't really get involved into until about like the 2010 incident. 2014, I was well aware of what was going on, and that's one of the things that really woke me up when Alex Jones didn't cover it, was how much of a fraud he was. And I mean, it's a human rights violation. Why aren't you covering it? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's not 100,000 people, right? Even if it's 500 people being massacred, civilians, women and children, isn't that a human rights violation? Isn't 15? We always hear about the poor 10 Jews who are killed, which they are poor because they're so stupid and ignorant that they live in that country. We always hear about that all the time, being killed by homemade rocket grenades, whatever, some fireworks with some gunpowder attached to them. I don't even know. Some people say it's actually Mossad operations most of the time. That's just speculation. I don't know. I don't live there. I don't know for sure. But anyways, let's get back to this main topic. So obviously North Korea blaming Israel for a while now. And right here in this article, I'm going to include this one and the other thing that I'm going to show you. Calls them an imperious satellite. I wouldn't say it quite in those terms, but I guess it's better than supporting them and sending over F-15s, right? But anyways, let me go down. Yeah, see, during the 2014 Israel-Gaza conflict, On the 15th of July, the Foreign Ministry issued a statement that read, "We bitterly denounce Israel's brutal killings of many defenseless Palestinians throughout indiscriminate military attacks on peaceable residential areas in Palestine as they are unpardonable crimes against humanity." Now, I guess talk about the pot calling the kettle black, right? Either way, there's a reason why they're demonizing them in the media. There's a reason the Jews are after them. There's a reason for it. It's not just arbitrary picking countries out of... Because think about it. Is North Korea the worst country in the world right now? Can you really stand up and say it's the worst country in the world? It's pretty bad, right? It's bad. Is it worse than Somalia? What about Sudan? What about most countries in Africa, besides maybe the South? Even the South now is pretty terrible. What about, like, Venezuela? No, but all we hear about is North Korea, North Korea, North Korea, North Korea. And then Jewish apologists use this to bash over the ignorant people's heads, saying, "Oh, see, we just care about human rights. There's no conflict of interest here." Really? It's just a coincidence that they were named one of the axis of evil countries, right? Along with, what was it, Iran and Iraq? I mean, really? I mean, Iran and Iraq are obvious. They're really obvious to anyone. If you don't know that Israel has an interest in those two countries, just don't even talk about the Middle East. Please. Just don't even open your mouth. Just say, "I'm ignorant. I'm not going to speak on it. I'll let somebody who's educated talk about it." But the one thing that I found even funnier was you can go down to this and click North Korea-Israel relations. And you can read all of their connections throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s. Fact that, oh yeah, I found this funny because I remember this happening back in the day, but I was so young, 2007, wow. I was 15 years old. Yeah, wow. And I remember specifically this happening, but it wasn't covered until I'm almost positive I didn't hear about it until like 2009, which was called Operation Orchard. Now, I don't even remember if they called that in the news when I heard it back in the day, but I remember it happening when the Israelis finally admitted they did airstrike a Syrian quote-unquote nuclear installation. You know what? Let me just go on this real fast. I'm going to include this page in there, though, so you can look through all this, because I don't really remember this incident that well. Let me see. Yeah, yep. Yeah, exactly. Oh, wow, this is crazy. This is just more proof. I didn't even include this in any of my Syria videos either. This is just more proof that Israel has interest in Syria, obviously. They have for a while. Wow. Total news blackout. Think about that, people. How can you have a total news blackout if they have no power? If they're a poor, little, innocent people that are 2% of the world, less than 2% of the world's population, but they can control the United States media and the Middle Eastern media, and yeah, obviously. Yeah, I'm gonna have to research even this more, because like I said, I was so young. I remember hearing about it, but that must mean that they had a blackout for at least over a year. Yeah, okay, for 7 months. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. So I'm gonna include this in there too, because this is pretty interesting, and I'm gonna have to read up on this, like I said. Yeah, obviously, there's a reason that they're going after North Korea. So, and if you can't see that, if you can't take 5 minutes to even research the controlled website of Wikipedia, the censored, the most heavily censored site probably in the world, is even telling the truth on this. But you can't take 5 minutes out of your pathetic lives to look it up. And then you just bash me like I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, let me include all three of these in there. Even though, like I said, it is to Wikipedia, I'm sure you can find independent articles. This actually kind of has me fascinated, this Operation Order. Because I remember, like I said, I remember it happening, but it must have been well over a year. Even though it says 7 months, it must have been well over a year before they released this to the public. So yeah, anyways, I'm going to end this now because I don't want to have another long video. So thank you guys. Obviously, there's a reason that North Korea is being targeted, like I said. And yeah, so thanks again.